Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here. Still working on the 82 Vet. As you can see, we have this control arm all in, all rebuilt. Our last video, we showed you the control arms had been repaired at one time, so we didn't want to use them again. So I ordered we ordered new control arms, new backing plates, all new brake hardware, brake shoes, new bearings, inner and outer, new wheel seals, and this shock bolt here for the control arm bushings, and I think that's it. It's pretty much the whole thing we're going to rebuild. So to start out, what we did here with the frame, once you get the old control arms out, Blake went in there and wire brushed inside. We got any dirt and stuff off, and then we just cleaned it out real good. You just put a quick coat of Pour 15 paint inside there, just to keep us from ever getting any worse. It's in good shape. It's solid, but now was the time to do it while it was apart. You know, we really could go through and clean the frame and paint it, but you know, he's just going to drive this car, so we don't want to do a full restoration on it. It's just going to be a driver, but we want to make it safe and functional too. So in this video here, we're going to show you how we got to this part. We're going to show you rebuilding the control arms, putting bearings in, and rebuilding the brakes. So let's get started. Okay, so you can see the back side here. We got everything all kind of cleaned up and painted. The yoke, the dust shield here. New stainless steel shims up in here. New hardware. I have this nut, lug nut, just holding this up from bending the cotter pin. I have no shock on it, so I don't want to bend that. And like I said, new backing plate here. So this is the driver's side. You can see how nasty this thing is. Somebody put this trick piece of angle on here to beef this up because it rotted out, and you can see it's separating back here too. So we don't want to use these. These are no good. So we ordered some new ones. You can see the new ones here. These are the new ones. Got these through Corvette Central. All the Corvette places have them there. About the same price, I think $229. And it comes with the main bushing already pressed in. New guides for the parking brake cables. So they're nice, they're powder coated. But they have a nice finish on them. So we're going to show you how I got the other one apart. I bought all the special tools to disassemble and reassemble the whole control arm. The bearing pullers. There's a tool that goes on here to drive this out, which it didn't work. I ended up taking the wafer wheel and a grinder and just cutting the bolts off here. Because I don't really want to heat this, because this bar is aluminum. So I just bit the bullet, bought new ones of these, cut these off. That was the easiest way to get them apart. Alright, this is a tool I got right here. And you can see I beat it up pretty good trying to get the other side off. We're going to hit it a couple times, see if it works, but I doubt it. So let's get the nut off here. As hard as that was to get off, I doubt if it's going to come off of here with this. You know, we're not even going to waste the time with it. Let's just cut it off. cotter pin out of here. Get this axle nut off. So we got that all apart. I got this press. This is especially made to get this spindle out of here. It's a kind of an expensive tool, but man, does it work nice. Okay, so the tool here we have, this press. This here goes on the spindle first. This protects the threads. And then it just clamps on here. And you center the tool onto that. Run these bolts into here. And just like that, the spindle is out of the drilling arm. So we removed our tool from here, and the spindle holder, spindle guard, I guess you could say. And the axle comes out. So this is what we got. This in here. Here's the shim. This is the shim and the axle spacer, bearing and a seal. So we'll get this bearing pulled off the spindle next. We got another tool for that. Okay, so we have our spindle bearing puller installed here. We're going to tighten these clamps down and turn these bolts down. This will pop the bearing out of here. Just like that. Bearing, spacer, shim, and we'll get the seal up here too. And that's it. Now we want to keep this spacer and shim together, reuse this when we set up the new bearings. If we have to, we have a shim kit. We have a shim kit to adjust the end plate if we need to. Okay, so we have our trailing arm back up on the bench here. We got the spindle all out of the way. Next thing we're going to do is take these 4 bolts out. This will take the backing plate off and all the parking brake hardware off and out of the off the spindle. That way we can discard this trailing arm. So we're going to take our punch here and just drive these studs back out. We have all new hardware for this anyway, so it doesn't matter if we screw them up. We gotta take this nut out of here too, or there's bolts. So we got our backing plate with the parking brake hardware, and then we get the spindle here. Get it separated off the trailing arm. Okay, so we have the trailing arm and the vise here, and we're got a little chisel, and we're gonna. This thing is so rusted onto the spindle here. We're gonna try to chisel, wedge it here. Well, we have our spindle all sandblasted now, and took the old races out, drove new ones in, and we're setting the bearings up with the bearing installation tool here. This is a tool I got through Corvette Central to allow the end play and the bearings. That way you don't have to mess with the spindle with pressing and removing the bearings. This thing here is set up to allow the bearings to slip on loose enough to where they're not pressed on, but tight enough to avoid any kind of slop. So we want 2/1000 to 8/1000 tolerance for end play here. So if we zero out our gauge, zero out, push back, we got about 6/1000. So that's about where we want to be at. So that'll work. So what we'll do now is we'll take it all apart and get this painted, get the bearings and seals installed in here, and get the spindle in. We're at our workbench here. Put a couple coats of chassis black on our spindle here, let that dry, We're gonna rebuild the backing plate here with the parking brake hardware. You can see these things were in bad shape. We bought everything new. We bought all new parking brake shoes and stainless steel hardware. So we're going to rebuild this next while that paint's dry. So we got this all together. Now we're going to put the spindle in using the spindle installation tool, which I got from Corvette Central. This really helps with pulling it in place. We want to put our spacer and our shim in that we recently used to set up the end play. And then our well greased bearing will go in. Can't have too much grease. Okay, so we're getting ready to put the spindle in here. We got our yoke on, and we're going to tighten this. This is part of the tool here. Tighten that down. Bottom this out here on the spindle. Then we're going to put this part of the tool on here. With the tool removed, you can see that the bearing's on the shaft here. And all we gotta do now is drive the seal in, and we'll paint our yoke and put it on. And that'll be it for this after we torque it down. So we got this all together. We got our nut torqued down, got the cotter pin in, and it spins pretty good here. A little bit of resistance, but don't want to spin too free. Bearings are packed full of grease. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.